This is Michael aka Papa Frosty, and you are live on Ebox TV.
Event box, entertainment, and more.
Ghanaians' reaction towards the lift of ban on the restrictions by the President of Ghana. The president lifts a ban on the restrictions of movement in Ghana, and these are his words.
It's exactly 3 weeks since I came to you and announced the imposition of restrictions to movement in the Greater Accra metropolitan area and Kaswa, and the Greater Kumasi metropolitan area and its contiguous districts. I explained at the time that the decision was taken to give government the opportunity to try to contain the spread of the virus, scale up effectively the tracing of persons who had come into contact with infected persons, test them for the virus, and if necessary, quarantine and isolate them for treatment, should they prove to be positive for the virus. The decision to restrict movement has occasioned a number of severe difficulties for all of us across the country, especially for the poor and vulnerable. The decision to impose restrictions on movement was backed by the data at hand, and our next course of action again is backed by data and by science. Indeed, all that government is doing is intended to achieve 5 key objectives: limit and stop the importation of the virus, contain its spread, provide adequate care for the sick, limit the impact of the virus on social and economic life, and inspire the expansion of our domestic capability and deepen our self-reliance. The modest success is chalked in containing the spread of the virus in Accra and Kumasi, and the severe impact on the poor and vulnerable. I've taken the decision to lift the 3-week-old restriction on movements in the Greater Accra metropolitan area and Kaswa, and the Greater Kumasi metropolitan area and its contiguous districts, with effect from 1 a.m. on Monday, 20th April. In effect, tomorrow, we'll see the partial lockdown in Accra and Kumasi being lifted. I must make it clear at the outset that lifting these restrictions does not mean we're letting our guard down. All other measures are still firmly in place. For the avoidance of doubt, the earlier measures announced on Wednesday, 15th March, which have been extended, are still very much in force and have not been relaxed. I'm demanding even greater adherence to these measures. In here, I'm referring to the suspension of all public gatherings, including conferences, workshops, funerals, parties, nightclubs, drinking spots, beaches, festivals, political rallies, religious activities, and sporting events. All educational facilities, private and public, are to remain closed. Businesses and other workplaces can continue to operate, observing staff management and workplace protocols with a view to achieving social distancing and hygiene protocols. Operators of public transport, including our buses, trotros, and taxis, are to continue to run with a minimum number of passengers, as they have been doing for the last 3 weeks in maintaining social distancing. They must also continue to ensure the maintenance of enhanced hygienic conditions in all vehicles and terminals by providing, amongst others, hand sanitizers, running water, and soap for washing of hands. Domestic airlines are required to adhere to the same protocols. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, together with metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, will continue to implement measures to enhance conditions of hygiene in markets across the country and expand the policy of alternate days for alternative products to improve social distancing. Our success in defeating the virus is largely within our control. That means each and every one of us must exercise at all times during this period without the partial lockdown in Accra and Kumasi a strong sense of selflessness, self-control, and self-discipline. It is important to stress strongly that coming out of the partial lockdown in Accra and Kumasi does not mean we are out of the pandemic. We will continue to monitor closely events in some hotspots in the Greater Accra metropolitan area like Wejagbawe, Ga East and Ayawaso East municipalities, and Tema metropolis, and in the eastern region like Esuajamai and Lower Manya Krobo districts. Whenever the situation so warrants, a community in which the virus is identified as becoming prevalent will be locked down until there is a clear understanding of the trajectory of the virus that will allow us to contain it. We must obey the measures still in place, including the new ones, because we know our survival depends on them. And the harder we are on ourselves in obeying them, the quicker and more enduring will be the victory. If we defeat the virus and get there, we have to accept that we have to wash our hands, maintain good hygiene, refrain from shaking hands, wear our masks, and practice social discipline in all of our engagements. Fellow Ghanaians, we are confronting one of the greatest challenges of our generation. We have to win this battle. We have to defeat the virus. Medamosepa, munkoso entiemasa, nenyina indinkunim. Indanyesiwa, nyeyano, nyabwa, no ninyo, tue, koni wofe, oyenkunim. May God bless us all and our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention. In any event, stay at home unless it is absolutely essential.
After the President of Ghana, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's speech, this is how some Ghanaians reacted towards this news. The question is, did the president do a right thing or a wrong thing? Well, leave your comments in the description below and let's find out what or how best we can go about these issues. A tweet from the former president of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, states that recent developments have made it clear the extent of the spread of the virus. The last report puts the number of confirmed cases at 834 cases. Many health experts continue to suggest the necessity and appropriate of the extension of the restrictions on movement. This is a tweet from the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Leave your comments in the description below and tell us what you think about these restrictions. This and many more news you have from eBox TV. I've been your host, Mr. Michael, aka Papa Frosty. Enjoy your stay.
Event box, entertainment, and more.